But I also want to generalize this question so that other speakers can, input a little bit of, if you're a new MEW user, first of all, it's really hard to get a printer because, it took me almost half a year to put together a 3D printer myself. I cannot imagine putting this together from a conventional printer. So anyone has any ideas of how to access the printer and then how to get it to work as a beginner?
I think there's a couple of really excellent publications that have detailed how to build from scratch a custom-built machine.
Okay.
Our team has published one. There's several papers out there that have some really great work instructions and a lot of the, all of the CAD drawings and everything in supplementary. That would be excellent for, a really experienced engineer that wants a big, building project.
Yeah.
But I think, and I'm just going to spruik Paul's team's wonderful Muron project, where they have used the Voron Foundation that has a lot of, open source material and a lot of, instructional help online to be able to build that component and then be able to, at a very low cost, adapt that into a Muron. I think that is now the benchmark and the starting point for melt electrowriting. It's probably the lowest cost and the lowest kind of barrier to entry that I've seen to build a machine from scratch.
Is this the Voron design website that I shared? Is that correct? Okay, so people just go on there can get a lot of resources then.
Yeah, so maybe we can share Paul's paper that then detailed the Muron conversion, and they've got all of the files required to be able to do that in that paper. It's a really wonderful resource. So
I'm happy to share.
Definitely.
We always have a follow-up email with our attendees, and people who aren't live right now, they're still going to watch. 90% of our people actually watch offline when we're not live. So I can share these links, to your publications in addition to the video. Then
the only other comment I think I'd make there is that a lot of different countries have very different electrical safety standards. And I'm in Australia, where we have very, very strict electrical safety standards about what kind of electrical work we can do in the lab and the sorts of safety mechanisms that we need built into our machines. So it is really important for new users to be quite cognizant of the research environment that they're operating in and just make sure that they're compliant with their expectations around doing their own electrical work or making sure that they have particular safety systems. That being said, these machines aren't wildly unsafe, and I think there's a lot of stigma that gets attached to the high voltage systems that we're using, of course, which can of course be very dangerous in some circumstances, but there are some really safe mechanisms that can be incorporated to make sure that these are very, very low risk devices, and so it's just something for people to be aware of.
I never thought it's been a high risk device until you talk about it, Naomi, but thanks for the warning. And Philippos, do you have any suggestion for newcomers to the field?
Oh, for newcomers in the field, yeah. Learn how to program in Python or in MATLAB so that they can, design what they have in their mind. And yeah, absolutely. Open source projects. I'm very opinionated about open source projects. So be very careful. The Muron thing project is very well documented as opposed to other, projects that when you start to build something, because I've done it in the past many times, you arrive at a point, where, you don't have clear instructions. So, Voron is based on this open source philosophy deeply in its roots. So I would start from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about you, Baram?
I think there are a lot of great methods paper published in MEW. Those are actually I started from there. A lot of them are from Paul's group. So I guess like for example, I came across a paper detailing the method for printing PCL specifically. And like most of the parameters and things worked for me to start with, and then when it gets started, then it gets easier to changing geometry or tweaking the different things would be more straightforward. So I guess there are lots of resources that can be used for new users.